A lot of people used this last storm to do that. We had them driving by our house nonstop.
All right, let's see. Is it done tomorrow?
Well, I'm not sure. Should we wait and give it a minute to see if it comes on, or do you think?
Well, I don't.
Oh, there it is.
It was just really, I think it might have just been cold. We haven't used the heating.
53-minute one, like right there. Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep.
Welcome this evening to the regular meeting of the Pittsfield Town Council, Tuesday, January 5th, 2021, in Council Chambers. If we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. First item here is council members elected in the November 2020 election take the oath of office and are seated in their council seat. New Councilor at Large, Jason Hall.
All right, very good. We'll have Jason come up front and raise his right hand. We'll be 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
And repeat after me. I, Jason C. Hall,
I, Jason C. Hall,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and will obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
Town Councilor, term 3 years,
Town Councilor, term 3 years,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state, so help me God.
and laws of the state, so help me God.
All right, congratulations. You're now a councilor. I can't shake your hand, but
Thank
we'll
you.
have to sign the sheet.
Congratulations, Jason. Welcome.
Great.
Good.
Thank you. We're all set.
Thank you.
You're now official and you can vote on everything.
Our next item on the agenda is the adoption of minutes of the special meeting held on December 8th, the regular meeting held on December 15th, and the special meeting held on December 17th. I'll look for a motion from councilors.
Move we adopt the meeting minutes from the special meeting on December 8th, the regular meeting on December 15th, and the special meeting on December 17th.
Second.
Seconded by Deborah. Thank you. Councilors, do you have any changes, omissions, deletions, additions to those minutes? Not hearing any. All those in favor of adopting the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Presentations, congratulations, and introductions, Catherine. Community and economic development activities and events.
Very good. We're going to do a comprehensive review with the different individuals that are involved with community and economic development activities and events, as well as the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation, with a meeting in January to go down through all the projects that we're working on, all the projects we'd like to work on, items that are out there that perhaps we could work on. So we'll get that all organized for the town council. And I did want to note that we have a unique opportunity in which the town applied with the Sebastopol Valley Chamber of Commerce for a design grant to design a project that would fit in bringing people out of poverty. Most of the state of Maine is determined by the federal government to have poverty levels. Now, although we're not eligible for community development block grant because supposedly our income level is so high, we appear on a multitude of grants which will start out with $10,000 and if successful will go up to $250,000 to help people learn the skills so that they can be better employed. During their training, provide for perhaps a daycare so that people who never thought that they could work would be able to do so. Assist with training and a variety of other costs, as well as the learning of skills and transportation. So there's a variety of items that we looked at with the chamber, and we submitted a letter of intent, which was very easy to do. Unbeknownst to ourselves, the city of Belfast and Waldo County included the town of Pittsfield in their application. So there's an application that includes all of Waldo, part of Somerset, which includes Unity and Pittsfield. And I will note that our numbers for unemployment are, unfortunately, regardless of what we do, and even adding 500 jobs recently, we are one of the highest level unemployment areas in the state of Maine for your labor market areas. The Pittsfield one, which includes 12 towns. It's not actually here in Pittsfield, but all the towns surrounding us going to the rural area. Our unemployment level is high. So we would be an attractive town. For the federal application, you need to have one of the 32 towns of which we are one because of our labor market area. You need to have one of those in your application. So we got picked up by Waldo County. So I've been involved with a number of these Zoom meetings with all these different groups because there's overlap, and a town cannot be in several groups. And so there's a variety of groups that have picked this up unbeknownst to us. But at least Waldo did explain their application and actually are highly organized. They're also working with Vaughn Woodward on bringing a solar project into the Waldo Tech Center. So that's one of the reasons we were picked up, besides our statistics. So we've been working on all of this and need to make a decision shortly as to which group we would be in. And of course, the Spascot Valley Chamber would like us in their group. And the Waldo County group is highly organized. I think they could have a successful application. I sent some questions out to Vaughn to see his thoughts on, working with the city of Belfast and how this would all work and how would it help the town of Pittsfield and Somerset County. And I'm sure I'll get an answer on that. I said I don't need a lot of details, but just what his perspective is, because it would be good to have a nice solar project in the schools so that the students can all learn and then get better paying jobs and then go out and do more solar and renewable energies. But of course you don't want to desert your chamber area, although we're not a member of the chamber. But I would perceive that if we stayed with the chamber and did a project which would be similar but would not have some of these training aspects in it, it would still cover transportation, jobs, training, skill building, childcare, and all the same things, because those would all be covered. The town of Pittsfield would do the majority of the work because that's been the history of being in the chamber. And probably one of the reasons why we're not in the chamber now, because the council really wasn't interested in doing that and thought we should go down to the Disneyland chamber. So we've got some information that's coming in, and I'll let you know how that goes. We'll probably have a discussion at the second meeting in January. Everybody's working on their applications, so I think we'll look over the applications and I'll make a recommendation on which one we'll join, but we need to be in one of them, but not more. We were listed many times, but we got down to 2 because some of the listings weren't realistic. We're not even remotely close to the areas. And one of my questions to Vaughn is, Belfast is an hour away, so how does that all work together? What do you think? So I'll get some information back, I'm sure, from him. And more information from the city of Belfast. But I will say they're highly organized. They have a lot of team members. The Sebastopol group doesn't have a lot of team members, and I perceive we would probably do the grant. So if we got it. and we may not have much of a chance. So we want to get included in something because we have residents in our area, even if they're not in Pittsfield, and they're in the surrounding towns. And there's some in Pittsfield that there's a lot of seasonal employment, and so people don't have money in the off seasons of whichever season it is, and it's very difficult. So if we could get them jobs that they could work all year, that could help them, you know, have more money, then they could pay their taxes sooner, they could have better food, they could, you know, they could have a better lifestyle. Maybe buy a house, you know, or fix up a house. So that would be helpful. So that's what we've been working on very quickly, because this is a federal program that came out very quickly. We had to send the lettergram, which I advised at the last meeting. We had like 2 days. So we did get one in for the chamber. But as I noted, we got included in a few others too.
Catherine, what's the timeline on the grant? Like, when are the applications due?
The applications are due on January 31st.
Okay.
So by that time, we have one additional meeting coming up. And it may be, I tried to impress upon the chamber, and I kept stating on the Zoom meetings, can we bring the chamber over into this Waldo project? I have one big one. I figured the more you have for your area, as long as your area doesn't get too out of control, I would think that you would have a better chance than these little applications, because it's a federal program and they're only going to approve a few for the state of Maine. But there's 32 towns that are considered tier towns. We're one of them, so we need to apply. And then later on, there's a $250,000 implementation grant. And at this point, from looking at the paperwork, there doesn't appear to be a match. So that would be interesting.
That's good.
Yeah. Time will tell.
And in those ones we were included in, does it talk about, other than the bond situation, does it talk about what our role would be?
They actually put us on it, and then there were some Zoom meetings, and everybody has about the same thing, but they didn't have the technical programs. That's what's different about the Waldo one. But everybody mentioned about the same items: the daycare, the transportation, helping get a better wage, more technical, but no specifics. The Waldo one has that specifics. They looked at agriculture because of their location and some of the projects they have there. The solar program, they had a couple of other items. But there is a distance there, so that's something to talk about.
That would be my biggest concern with it, but I think it's very attractive that they have a lot of people that could work on it, and it would be you putting the entire
That's
grant
what I was
application together.
Yeah, I do know. I've been told that's not going to happen, but I do know what's going to happen here. All right, very good. So that is the one project that I would mention under the community economic development activities and grants, because that could be a substantial amount of money for this area. We would be included in a large project, and we would have a share of it. All right, very good. Thank you.
Did you want to go on to
Certainly.
freedom of access?
So the
training?
next one is freedom of access training. And so I will probably have a briefer session this year than last year because I have a mask on this year. And I think too, several of you have had the training before, and so that will be a refresher for you. And for Jason, it will be a new information. But basically, you had a copy of the frequently asked questions, which are on the website, as well as a couple of other pages. So the first page in your package is the training for elected officials on Maine's freedom of access law. And I'm not going to read through all of this, but just hit a few high points. Since 2008, elected officials have to complete training on the requirements of Maine's freedom of access laws, and this is in regards to public records and proceedings. And so this is basically about what are the legal requirements regarding public records and public proceedings, the procedures and requirements regarding complying with a request for a public record, and the penalties and consequences for failure to comply with the law. And so over the decades, many decades, there are lots of requests to town, and you don't have to call it a freedom of access request. Some people will, but every day people come into the town office and ask for information. When the freedom of access law comes into play, it's usually something controversial or people are fighting about an item like a boundary line or something, and they want to see applications, so they'll put together a formal request. But generally, in a week, we can receive 40 or 50 requests for copies of tax bills, assessing records, meeting minutes, copies of the budget and everything. People do not have to fill out a freedom of access request. Now, people will ask and say they have that, and I'll ask what it is, and I'll say, oh, sure, we can give you a copy, and they're all set. But generally, people just come in and ask for information, and we give it out. And we have so much information on the town's website, even though some has been taken off, there's still a lot there. We don't get a lot of these requests. So the elected officials are the individuals who are required to complete the training, and so that would be the municipal officers, which are you all. If you have elected clerks, treasurers, assessors, and budget committee members. So basically in this town, it is for the municipal officers. I've taken the training a few times simply because I'm the public proceedings officer. You have to have one for each town who would handle the requests for freedom of access items. And what I normally get is several times a year from California and Florida will be a request from Procure Smart to have a copy of all of our vendor lists and to know what the items are. And Trio, our financial package, has actually figured out how to process that so we can just hit a few buttons instead of photocopying many items. And so that can be easily sent in a PDF. It goes off in an email to them and can take 5 minutes instead of the time it used to take, in which it would take a while to fulfill their requests. But Trio did come up with a fix for that, and that worked out well. So going on to the next set of paperwork, there is a document called Your Right to Know, the Main Freedom of Access Act. And basically, it talks about the public's right to information from government activities and how this makes a democratic government, which is true. And so the Main Freedom of Access Act is called FOAA. So you'll see in writing once in a while there's an FOAA request. And so that's a Main Freedom of Access request. It grants the people of the state a right of access to public records while protecting legitimate government interests and the privacy rights of individual citizens. So most items are accessible to the public whether or not you have the people use the FOAA request. And we have a little form upstairs in case we do actually, it actually does need to be reviewed, and we figure out what can you provide or what can you not provide, and time frames to take care of that. But generally, people can have copies of whatever they like. They come in and look at the book of minutes, they come in and look at the budget, and they usually pick up copies of a lot of different documents. So with COVID-19, there were some changes that took place regarding the meetings, so that generally you had to have your public proceedings open to everyone. With a Zoom, there is the option of having the councilors or the selectmen as elected officials vote from another location, separate off-site. And so that took place because of COVID-19, but generally it's not allowable. Councilors could watch a meeting, or selectmen could watch a meeting at home and participate, but they could not vote in the past. But because of COVID-19 and trying to protect the safety of everyone, there was an update to the regulations through the public emergency in which a Zoom could be utilized. So that is the...
So if there was someone
Pardon?
if there was someone at extreme risk of catching COVID-19,
yes.
they could
Yep,
be on Zoom and vote.
Yep, so basically, let's say half of the council didn't feel comfortable coming to the meeting, they could be at their homes or offices and Zoom in, and they could participate as long as the public emergency is in place. Now,
And you have to be able to see their face.
yes, you have to be able to make sure and verify it is the person that we're indicating. So using a phone, for example, with a little picture with a name is probably not enough. They want to see the person, just so you can verify it. And generally, the councilors would have their names underneath it. Like, we've got one here for Heather's iPad, so we know it's Heather Donahue. So that was a change that took place. Now, after the public emergency is no longer in existence, then councils could be at home and use Zoom and talk about the different agenda items, but they could not legally vote. So that was a change that took place. I'm not going to go through all of the materials because of course you can read them, but it does talk about how you need to have the directions for your remote accessibility so that the public can participate remotely, so the councilors and selectmen can participate remotely. So that's why we have all the Zoom directions on the town website, so you can click on them, and that's why they're on the agenda, so somebody, if they just had the agenda, could type it in and have access.
So how do we take this course? Online?
Yeah, we're taking it now. Yeah, you're getting a mini course here, a very mini one.
So just read this and then we sign?
Yeah, I'm going through and picking out some high points and then you're gonna sign. You're getting a little training class to make it quicker for you. So basically with the Zoom, there has to be an ability for the public to be able to comment. So we have people that will come on. In the beginning when we did Zoom, we had quite a few people come on and we would click them out of the waiting room. And then when you did your public participation, you would check with the room here to see if anyone had a comment, and you would check with Zoom. You have to make sure that they have the right to participate in the meeting in whatever would have been the regular format. So if you had a meeting in which you didn't allow participation under any agenda item and only allowed participation at the end of the meeting, you would give the same rights to those that were on Zoom as were here in the room. But you allow participation under each agenda item generally. And then for the Zoom meetings, we do keep a record of all of them, so people can, we've had a couple of people have asked for them. The sound is not the best, but you can understand it. And I think with a different system, as we have ordered as purchase order number 1 for 2021, ordered a large widescreen TV in the proper cords, and in accordance with the budget that we put together to update computers and digitization, a small amount. So basically, under the frequently asked questions, it talks about the Freedom of Access Act so that people have access to the public records and public proceedings, and on page 1 of 12. It talks about how the state and local governments are under the Freedom of Access Act. It notes specifically that federal agencies are not covered under this specifically, but it is the generally the state and local government. There are some other agencies such as regional organizations. Kennebec Valley Council of Governments has had Freedom of Access Act requests. In terms of enforcement of the Freedom of Access Act, people can head to Superior Court and file paperwork, but generally these items are worked out. There are a few cases, especially down in southern Maine, where people will go in and request hundreds of documents, and so there's been some legal proceedings. However, generally, you know, it's a request for an item here or there. Recently, we had a couple of requests for information on roads, which I told you about, in which we dug through all the records and went to the safes, and there really was hardly any details. We provided what was available. If they're not on your master road list with all of your discontinued roads and your abandoned roads and the really nice project that was done back in the 80s and the 90s, it's unrealistic we would find much, and we did not. But we provided all that information. There are penalties for failure to comply with the Freedom of Access Act, in which an individual would say, no, we're not going to provide, the town says, no, we're not going to provide the information. You know, look it up yourself, or don't provide any type of record. So the fines are listed at the bottom of page 1 of 12, and I can't even think of any cases that they've had in the state of Maine about that. There may have been one, but it would have been a while back. The legislature has a public access I can't even pronounce that word.
Ombudsman.
Okay. They have a public access officer, which reviews complaints about compliance with FOAA. I think mostly that would be with state items, but they could also refer items regarding municipalities. They provide information about how to contact the public access officer at the state. And it talks about how the training on the Freedom of Access Act requires that people take the training, which is what is listed in what we're doing now, and talks about the different positions that are covered. And of course, municipal officers are listed, and I've taken it, and we've had a couple of staff members take it, just so they'd be familiar with it. At the local level, there is a public access officer, which is myself, and we're talking about whether we'll have another one appointed. But there's very rarely requests. We might get 2 requests a year, and they're basically items that we would normally give out anyway. So the training is to include, as I noted before, the legal requirements regarding the public records and public proceedings, how to comply with the request for a public record, and then penalties. And then most of this just talks about certifying the training and talks about a public record, which I think that's one of the more important items. A public record listed at the bottom of page 3 of 12 is any written, printed, or graphic matter or any mechanical or electronic data compilation from which information can be obtained directly or after translation into a form susceptible of visual or oral comprehension that is in the possession or custody of an agency or public official of this state or any political subdivisions, or is in the possession of custody of an association, the membership of which is composed exclusively of one or more of these entities, and has been received or prepared for use in connection with the transaction of public or governmental business, or contains information related to the transaction of public or governmental business. And then there's a variety of exceptions. So basically, it's almost every record that the town has. The items which are exempt are generally the negotiation process, let's say on a police contract or a fire contract, personnel files, lawsuits that are pending, economic development projects. So there's a number of exceptions that are under the law, which items are not obtainable under the Freedom of Access Act. And then there's a number of items that, based upon what status they're in, they then become accessible later on when they become a final decision. But these are rare items that people would request. So basically, Freedom of Access Act requests do not have to be in writing, but because there can be confusion about what people want, if there is a request in which somebody is coming in asking for all the legal paperwork on something, we would use our form. But if they want a copy of a budget, we wouldn't make them, fill out a form. There's no need for it. The budget is sitting there in the budget book. We can make a copy of it. If they want a copy of their assessing record or their tax bill, we're not going to ask them to fill out the Freedom of Access paperwork. But if it's something more complicated and something that we have to go research and see, is this something they can have or not, we would have them fill out a form. They're not required to do that, but generally people will, because they want to define it better. Nobody wants to get 500 pages of items, like what happened when we had the media requested a copy of every single email that I had. And unbeknownst to us, it said at the bottom I had 196,000 emails, but it was actually a lot more. So nobody wanted to get that. So after we started giving them, they decided that was not what they wanted, and that stopped. So on the form is an area where we try to define what the request is, and asking for every email in the town manager's computer is not a productive item. And so we tried to define that, and they kept saying, no, we want everything. So I said, fine, we'll give it to you. But when you started sending it to them via email, then they realized the extent of what it was, and that stopped. And if they had just given a category, then they could have had that category. Because your electronic records are the same as your written records, the same as your audio tapes. You don't have to put them into a different form, but they're all accessible to the public unless they are the exceptions, which are the confidential items. And so we encourage people once in a while when we do get a request to define exactly what they're interested in, tell us what you want. And then often it's not even really a freedom of access request. It's just simply they want information on a road. They want information on something that's been discontinued, maybe a boundary line, a code violation, most of which is accessible. And so when we get a request, well, we have 5 working days to acknowledge that request. And then we have a period of time in which, if we cannot produce everything, we need to tell the individuals that it's going to take additional time. You would make a recommendation of what the time would be from the analysis of what they're asking for. Let's say somebody said they wanted a copy of every document regarding 5 roads in the country from 1800 to now. Well, that's going to take a while to put together, to go through the books or to go get the books and bring them down to a location where the citizen can look through them for the information. But generally, we will skim through items to see what we can find for the individuals. Requests like that do take some time, and so we give them an estimate of what that time is. And so the law talks about how the records have to be made available within a reasonable period of time. And so that's why you would give an estimate to the individuals. If people want copies of items and it's above a certain minimum amount, or it's going to take significant research, you need to give an estimate of what the cost would be based upon a schedule that's in the state law of how much you can charge per hour. And what you can charge per hour for research is very low compared to what the rate of an employee is. So this is where it's good to define, get the people to define what they really want, so less time is spent on items, so less cost is accessible to the individual, and less cost is assessed by the town or absorbed by the town. And then going through and looking at the material, it talks about the exceptions on page 6 of 12, the types of confidential items, attorney-client privilege, work product privilege, that's usually regarding lawsuits, records describing security plans, and this is true. We had requested of CMP once to know where their 3-phase power was, simply because we wanted to scope out some properties and see what should be zoned differently. Well, that was a confidential document because of security, in which CMP could not tell us where the 3-phase lines were or give us a map because it was a security item. So that would be the same for the water facilities that the town would have. We would not have to provide a map of the setup in the water facilities in which somebody could get in there and there could be an issue. So there are some items that would be deemed as secure. Now with the 3-phase power, I mean, basically you can drive around town and see where the 3 lines are, figure it out yourself. But we didn't realize that when we asked for the document. And CMP shows up, you know, all excited, but they explained to us that we couldn't have that. But they would work with us. We had a specific request, we could ask a question. So we did it that way. So as noted here on the next few pages, most items are accessible by the public. And then it talks about if an agency doesn't provide a written denial, if somebody thinks that a document has been withheld, you know, how people can go about dealing with those items. It's very, very rare when that would happen or anyone would think that that would happen. I've heard about a couple of cases down in southern Maine, but usually people come to an agreement on what the document should be. The law also talks about, as I had noted at the bottom of page 712, that we don't have to create documents, summarize them, or put them in a particular format. Somebody, if they would like to have let's say it's on a tape recording and they want to have a disc, we don't have to change it. It stays in the same format. Page 8 of 12 goes into how emails are public records, and that's why we always caution people. And I just noted tonight that Don't put anything in an email that you wouldn't want everybody to see, because if documents were ever requested, you have to turn over all your emails. And again, I think that would be something that would be rare that would happen. But let's say we had a huge development project, it was very controversial. You might have two sides that are in disagreement, organizations might form, and then they'll ask for copies of the town's emails. So then they'll ask for, that will be all individuals that are involved with the project, myself, anyone who's assisting me in the office, and counselors, because that would be generally what would happen. So again, you wouldn't put anything in an email that you wouldn't want to have be made available. We also have to keep our emails on the public projects, public records. The one item that is always difficult is how do you store all these items and keep them, because there's no actual retention. There's no period of time that the law states you have to keep the emails, however you're supposed to keep them. So that's something that we have kept all of our emails, but we put archives together. So for you all, most of you are using the town council email that's provided, and Jason will decide if he wants to use that or not. So basically, you would just keep your emails and probably not send out a lot. I mean, there's not a lot that would go on that you would do. But it's very rare. We've only had one request here, and that was the one from the media for every single email that the town manager had, which went away because it was ridiculous. There's charges for your records that would be provided beyond certain minimum amounts, and that's listed out on page 9. On page 9, it also talks about what is a public proceeding. So this is any type of meeting that is open to the public, that is for business, that is not confidential. So your Fair Hearing Authority meeting would be confidential. Your Pittsfield Economic Expansion meetings are confidential. But generally every other meeting that you have would not be confidential. Finance committee meetings aren't confidential, ordinance committee meetings aren't, planning board meetings, etc. Personnel, if there was a grievance that was filed by police, because that's been added in now for personnel appeals or regular employees, that would be confidential. But your regular meetings, like economic development, that's not meeting with businesses on a specific project, recycling committee meetings, other boards and committees would not be confidential. Public notice is required of all the public proceedings if there are 3 or more individuals. And so this is why, even though a quorum is 4 for the town council, we always recommend that if you have 3 people on the council together that you not see, you're at a meeting, you see each other, some of the meeting, not related to the town, you see each other, you shouldn't really talk about town business, because you're like a public proceeding having 3 of you. 4 is a quorum for the town council, but the state law has a part of the law that talks about you have to have public notice if you have 3 or more persons that are together of our agency. And so in terms of the town councilors, let's see, 3 of you are at the Egg Festival meeting, and you start talking about town things. That's really like a public proceeding. So whenever you've gone to judge the cheesecake contest, in the beginning, I would just put up a notice, the town councilors are going to judge the quiche contest, and leave it at that. But then we started just providing guidance, just talk about other things, which is what you've done over the years. You've never talked about town business. And then we have a section on executive sessions, and you know about that. For Jason, basically there's very few executive sessions that we would have. There's a section of the law that lists all of them, and most of the items I mentioned now, mentioned previously, are the items that you could have executive sessions on. You can't make any motions in executive session or make decisions. You would come out afterwards so that it becomes a public meeting at that point. There's a section in the frequently asked questions, and this is something that comes up quite a bit. Can members of a body communicate with one another by email outside of a public proceeding? And of course you can, but not to the extent where you're trying to make the decision unbeknownst to the public or without the public's knowledge. So there wouldn't be any trying to make a decision or come to an agreement on items that would be outside of the meeting. And nor, like for example, the planning board or the board of appeals cannot discuss the applications that are before them in email. It's a specific prohibition under the law because you're talking about a development project or a specific project. At the bottom of page 11, because we're almost at the end here, talks about can people come in and record public proceedings, and yes they can. You could have 10 people sitting in the audience with 10 tape recorders. It's rare when that happens. Once in a while somebody will do that. But right now we have all the town hall streamings, you have Zoom, so really there's no need to record items like there was in the past. If somebody wanted to record a controversial development project at the planning board, they might come and make their own little tape recording too, and that's legal. The last two items talk about how people can talk at a public proceeding. Do members of the public have a right to speak at public meetings under the Freedom of Access Act? And that doesn't really have, the FOAA doesn't require opportunity for public participation. It's not actually the focus of the getting access. That would be whatever organization's rules were, but generally almost every board body provides an opportunity for public input. Getting near the end, the question that remains two, is a public body or agency required to make a record of a public proceeding? And so there has to be a record of the decision, but there doesn't have to be a 20-page listing of all the notes and items that took place at a meeting. You can simply have a record of each motion that takes place, the approvals that take place, and that's because we have the town hall streaming. You've now changed over to that. Our minutes are about a third of what they used to be because you didn't have all these nice recordings where people can go in and listen to it 10 times a night if they wanted to. So we would put more details in the minutes. Now we have a section at the end of the minutes that says for more detail to go to www.pittsfield.org, and then gives the directions on where to click to access those recordings. And we also have the Zoom recordings too. And the last item that's listed is the agency or body, which let's say it's the town of Pittsfield, required to make a record or minutes of a public proceeding available to the public. And yes, the citizens can ask for copies of the minutes. Once in a while they do come in. For us, the minutes, the agendas, and the council packages are on the town website. The planning board agendas and minutes are on their on the town website under their meetings, and a few other meetings will have materials too, usually agendas, sometimes some minutes. And so yes, we do need to make those available if people ask for them. We also have a book upstairs in the town clerk's area that has minutes of different committee meetings. So that is a very quick analysis of the public records, what are public records, what are public meetings, and what freedom of access really means. I gave you also, so you have for your records, a copy of the actual law that talks about the different sections and what's required. But basically, the frequently asked questions covers almost all of that. So, you're all now legal. Anyone have any questions? Counselors have gone to sleep. No. Only kidding.
I ask that you address the issue that I first brought up before the meeting.
I put it under discussion items.
It needs to be done now, while we're having the meeting.
That would still be within our meeting.
Okay, well, I'm leaving now.
All right.
And I will not be back until everyone is made to wear a mask. It's the law, and we should all be doing it as an example to our community.
So,
Have a good evening.
do you want to sit over here, or?
No, I don't want to sit anywhere.
Okay.
Catherine, do you want these?
Yes, I'll need to have those. You can leave them on your desk.
Leave them right here.
Yes, that'll be fine.
Public hearings and old business, there is none. Reports, council committees, finance committee.
We haven't met and we have no schedule yet.
No report. Ordinance committee, has no report. Recycling committee.
No report as of yet.
report. Board and committee updates by town councilors and manager. Catherine, do you have anything out of that item?
No, it's been very quiet since the last meeting. In fact, this is the first meeting in the room since December 15th.
Okay, so no reports there. Town manager's report?
Yes, I'll be very brief. I did send out the town manager's report, so you have it before the meeting, and it's in writing, which is good. And as we get more and more caught up, because we have a very proficient administrative assistant that's just been hired, you'll get those probably quicker and more toward where the council package is. But right now, just zip it out. So the town manager's report has a number of items in it, and because we have spent so much time on the end of the year processes and the beginning of the year processes, because they cover the bookkeeper's position, there's not a lot here. So the first and second council meetings, as well as the town manager's reports, are usually very light. As you can see, your agenda is pretty short for this evening. Everyone is working away on all of their reports and processing that's required under the law. I wanted to note number one, workers' compensation inspections. The Maine Municipal Association has called for an inspection of the Public Works Department next week. However, due to workload, and we have some sick individuals there, illness, we're going to request that the meeting be rescheduled to the following week. So I think we'll have an inspection by MMA in January, I'm just not sure when. Number two, we promoted trainings to the staff for online access through the Maine Municipal Association. The sessions are very easy to utilize, and certificates can be created. So basically you go into the Maine Municipal Association, instead of having just a few trainings such as the Bureau of Labor ones, which are required, it's like 6 trainings that most of us have, and for some of the departments there's more. There must be 50 or 60 of the trainings that are available. There's one that we're going to request that the staff take, how to address stress at work. There's one talking about how to be safe at work now because of COVID-19. So there's a whole variety of items. Some of the ones that have worked out well for the staff have been to prevent back injuries, fall protection. These are all very helpful training sessions that are on the screen. Audio is not required. You watch the screen, it changes, you answer questions, and then you take a test at the end, you get a certificate. And frankly, I can do work, watch that, and do my trainings too, and it works out really good. It's like a good refresher. Number 3 is snow plowing and assorted winter work. So we have had, because of the type of storms, I think, partially, and just because of the timing, we have gotten a number of concerns about people that think that the Public Works Department has been doing too much work. And then we've also got concerns about how the Public Works Department is not doing enough. So I have some interesting items. So I have sent just a summary to the Public Works foreman, and once he is back to work, we will go over those items. But I did write a brief summary for him so he would know what people had mentioned as concerns. Number 4 is airport projects. The fixed-base operator, Keith Curtis, is also the airport manager for operations, and I'm airport manager for capital projects under your regulations. Discussed a number of projects with myself. The airport interloan process, in which for the town to be able to have its airport hangar, because of the amount of money that it would cost and the prohibitions or limit and the federal law on how much of your yearly allocations you can save up, we would have to borrow money from another airport. And airports have borrowed money from ourselves before. It's not technically our money, it's money that the federal government gives the town to run the airport. We will get $150,000 each year, but we can only build it up to approximately $600,000. The same issue happens to other towns, and so we're trying to work with a couple of towns who are going to lose their funds because they don't have a project that's approved, they can't get it approved. So they would then loan the money to the town. The town would then pay the money back later on when our project is done and we've accumulated enough of our yearly allocations from the federal government. So it's basically federal monies that another town has or airport has, which they loan to the town of Pittsfield, which we then collect up our allocations and pay them back when they need the money, because they would lose the money if they didn't trade it to another town or loan it to another town, and we wouldn't be able to do our project without the money. So this is a little tricky. The state has set up a few, of towns and airports to talk to each other. There's been a few of these that have taken place, and this would be like a pilot model, because from now on, because of the costs of the hangars, it's perceived by Maine DOT that none of the airports are going to be able to have their own hangar if they don't have separate loan monies from themselves. For example, let's say the city of Belfast wanted to go get a loan for the airport and decided to do that. That's fine, but it's unlikely that a town of this size or Norwich Park would go out and get their own separate loan from the bank for the airport and build a hangar. Likely you're going to have to utilize the federal monies, and so make an arrangement to do that. So that's all underway to talk about. Airport engineering project is the next item. So we have received the recommendations from the town's engineering consultant HTA as to the cost and the scope of services for the next project. And the state of Maine, to save money for the towns, is doing the independent or third-party reviews now, so we don't have to hire an independent reviewer, most of which came from outside the state of Maine and had to come up from Massachusetts, and you had to go through a complex bid process. So this is very good. So we will be working on that, and likely you will see an agenda item for the airport shortly. Hopefully at the next meeting, if not the one after that. And then the next item under the airport, we all have the airport items here. The airport loader blade. We bought a loader back in 2004 as part of, it came in 2005. It went through the RFP in 2004. And so we had, we're part of a state bid, and when the state bids out items, many times it seems sort of overloaded or big to us, but these items do last a long time. We got a loader. So I remember when the loader came in town, it looked like the largest loader. I mean, it made our little baby loaders that the Public Works had look like toys, basically. So this loader came in, it was on this huge trailer, and then I got down to the airport, and there's like men all surrounding it, looking it over, because they had seen it come in town and followed it down to the airport hangar. So that loader blade has worked since 2005, but it broke. A new loader blade is around $16,000, and to fix it was $7,500 or even more. So we were fortunate for one storm, Public Works plowed the airport, and technically when we added in the 2 extra employees, the new employees for the department, Public Works was supposed to take over the plowing of the airport, and both Caleb and I think that should happen. It'll be a lot less expensive. But in the meantime, there's been some welding that's been done, so they fixed it so the blade works. And Caleb has said he'll have his employees work on the blade just to fix it free of charge to the town to get it resolved. But he and I are interested in having the Public Works Department do the plowing at the airport. It will be a lot less expensive. Currently, using the loader takes an extreme amount of time, and for Caleb to find somebody to run it has been difficult, and the cost is high. So another solution would be good.
Catherine, I have a quick question on that.
Yes.
Does the FAA have a requirement on how quickly the snow is supposed to be cleaned up? If we had, I'm thinking prioritizing with snow removal, if we have our town.
I believe it indicates it has to be safe for the airplanes to come in, but I don't think it does.
Okay.
Yes, yes, that would be something that we would have to make sure that it would work in the scheduling and everything.
Well, especially since we've taken on more roads.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, that would be my concern. It's like, how do you explain to people, oh no, we're not plowing the roads because we're not plowing the airport? You know, I don't think that would go over very well.
Unless their relative was on the plane, then it would be a different story.
So Caleb said that the last time, that time that they plowed it, it took 20 minutes, and you got the loader down there for 8 hours and, you know, or more to clear off everything. So yes, you'd have to fix that so it all would work in a schedule. And so there also will be, as I noted previously, we're having Public Works timetables for different projects, because I know there's been concerns on the paving, the mowing, crack sealing. There's been a few other things to make sure that items get done in a timely fashion. And then quickly, town goals for 2021. I did want to note first, thank the council for my evaluation, all the many nice comments, comments of support and everything. And to note that we have some interesting goals for 2021. Some of them are the same, some are new ones. But basically, we'll be working on economic and community development. That's always been a major item. We'll be placing less emphasis on manufacturing, more on community development and tourism. Pretty much we look at everything, but looking at community development and tourism is very important. We'll also be working on projects with the planning board, which has been ongoing regarding subdivision reviews, the different ordinances, enforcement or projects in the comprehensive plan, looking for land that would be available for development. So the planning board was very receptive when that was discussed. Another item that's very important, as I'd already mentioned, the Public Works action plan or timetable for the year. There would be employee action plans for professional development and enforcement of project, enhancement of project management for all the department heads and supervisors. That will help to assist with workflow and accomplishments. And one of the main items that anyone will find when they get into municipal government, if they haven't been in municipal government before, is that they never believe it will be as busy as what we tell them. We always tell them this will be the busiest, fast-paced job that you will ever have. And then once somebody starts working for the town, they're just in awe at how much work there is and how much activity and all the different items. And it's fascinating, but it is a lot to do. And so there's always the need to set up your workflow so that you focus on the bigger projects and the bigger items for the most impact, because you can get caught in little items that come up every day. But if you have your goals and you have your work plan, then you can have more accomplishments. Other projects that are significantly important are opportunities for water, opportunities for sewer system enhancements. And these are items that we've been working on them with different projects, fixing up the water plants of the town and the sewer plant of the town, the hiring of Oliver Associates as our operator, doing some enhancements at the facilities, updating the plans for the state, and meeting all the requirements of the licenses, working on the terms and conditions. And unfortunately, we'll have to have a water rate increase, but it's been a long time since we had one. And unless we do, we will not be able to enhance the system or fix the water lines or do more work to the water pump station and other facilities. And it's important to be able to do that. We were fortunate in the area of the sewer system in that we had $85,000 that by our USDA loan signed for back in the early 2000s. We had to have $85,000 put together each year in the budget, raised as taxation or through the water sewer user fees in this case, but raised through the budget process that would go into a reserve account that would then have the money for the removal of the sludge from the sewer system. And so, after a number of years and finding out how little material was in the lagoon system, the state did just agree at the end of the year that they would allow us to take that $85,000 out and not have to put it into the reserve each year. That gives us $85,000 that's in the sewer budget that we can use for a loan payment or we can use toward projects. So this is really good. That will help the town so that we do not have to have an increase in the sewer rate. So we're basically looking at the water system. So those are the main projects and items that we'll be working on. So I want to thank the council for my evaluation. I think the goals will be very good. And then we've got all kinds of projects to work on. I should note too, we're going to have a focus on social media. That's one that I always try to work on. I've assigned it to several staff members, but it's always so busy we never really get to it. But we made it a goal so we would get to it. And while the copier was here as a demo, and the numbers of copies that we could have were just a demo, so they're not counting toward our contract numbers, we ran off several free books off the internet on Instagram, LinkedIn, and all social media so that we could have those for the staff to learn. So we got quite a few free books up there and they don't count toward our copier. So working on that goal already. Thank you so much.
Thank you. New business?
New business is Order 21-01, order that the town council elect from among its members a mayor to serve for the 2021 year.
Move we adopt Order 2101, and I nominate Heather Donahue for mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Any other nominations, councilors? I'm not hearing any. We'll close nominations for mayor. All those in favor of myself serving as mayor again in 2021, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that will pass. Order 21-02.
Order 21-02, order that the town council elect from among its members a deputy mayor to serve for the 2021 year.
Move we adopt Order 21-02, and I nominate Tim Nichols for deputy mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Councilors, any other nominations for deputy mayor? Not hearing any, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Tim Nichols serving as deputy mayor for 2021, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass.
Congrats, Tim.
Should be an exciting
Would
new
both of
experience.
you like to get sworn in now?
Sure, why don't we do them at the same time?
We will. All right, you both can come up here standing 6 feet away from each other. All right, very good. You're going to put up your right hand and repeat after me. I
Tim Nichols.
Heather Donahue.
do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and will obey the laws of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
that I will in all respects
that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and ordinances of the town of Pittsfield,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
mayor,
Deputy Mayor,
term 1 year,
term 1 year.
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of the state, so help me God.
and laws of the state, so help me God.
Very good, congratulations to both of you. Get a pen right there you can use. We'll be all official. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
No, I appreciate it, thank you. Order 21-03.
Order 21-03, order that the mayor appoint from among the councilors a finance committee, an ordinance committee, and a fair hearing authority consisting of 3 members each, and a police labor negotiating committee consisting of 2 councilors and the town manager.
Councilors, I look for a motion to open discussion.
Move we adopt order 21-03.
Second.
Thank you. So we have 4 committees that are standing committees of the council. The first one is the finance committee. Councilor Collmore, are you still willing to serve on that committee?
Yes.
And Councilor Billings earlier in the evening said that she would be willing to serve on that committee as well. Is there, I would also like to serve on that committee again. Is there anybody that has pressing need to serve on the finance committee for 2021?
I would say it was you.
Okay. All right, so our slate of nominations for the finance committee are Councilor Collmore, Mayor Donahue, and Councilor Billings. For the ordinance committee, myself was serving, Deputy Mayor Bolster was serving, but his term has ended. And then Councilor Lodgedice also offered to continue serving on that committee. I will serve on that committee again. I am perfectly happy if somebody else wants to step up and serve on that committee, so that would be 2 openings on that committee. Tim or Jason, or
Is that,
serve with
is
Pete,
that anything you
or
wanted to do, Jason? I don't want to take somebody else, I've been on all these committees, so I don't mind, stepping aside. I mean, I'll do it if you guys need somebody, but, yeah.
Yeah, you can do it if you want.
Jason's being a little shy about committees.
If you need me to, I will, but otherwise, I'm willing to do it if
I'd like to
if
see
I
you
need
on at
to.
least one of the committees. I think it's good, and you get a lot of experience. as
You'd like
far as-
ordinance.
It's actually interesting because there'll be zoning ordinance amendments and
Yes.
different
Okay.
items we talked
Yes,
about.
I'm here.
Yeah.
If you picture this as a lake, you're gonna get your feet wet to about your ankles.
Oh, look, it'll be the building code too.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll serve on that as well. Pete, would you be willing to take over chairman of that committee?
I would not.
Congratulations.
Didn't you say your name first?
I did. Did you notice that? You won't do chairman of that?
No.
No. Oh, okay. All right, Jason, would you like to be chairman of the ordinance committee?
I'll be on it, I'm not the chairman, so.
All right, I guess I'm stuck as chair. Fair Hearing Authority Committee, Deputy Mayor Bolster was serving on that committee, so there's 1 open seat there. Councilor Collmore said she'll continue to serve on that, and Councilor Billings would like to step off that committee, so we need 2 people to serve on that committee. Fair Hearing Authority Committee hears any issues around the general assistance program. If somebody has a disagreement with how it's been applied, or if they've been denied, they can apply to that. It hasn't really met in many years, I don't believe.
It's met once in 19 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Did my name just get read off first then?
Did I? Oh.
It was read off first.
Jeez, now I'm chair of 2?
Yep. Tim,
I'll go on.
you want that one? Okay.
That's all right, that one never meets.
Jason, that's a very low volume
I can
meeting.
sit on that.
Okay. So I'll put
Once in
Jason.
19 years, I can handle it.
All right, so our slate of committee members would be Jason, Tim, and Amanda for the Fair Hearing Authority Committee. Police Labor Negotiating Committee, Counselor Nichols, did you want to continue serving on that?
Yes.
And Counselor Billings also said that she'd be willing to still serve on that as well. This is 2 counselors, and then the town manager sits on that committee, so that would fill that committee. Okay, so all those, if there's not any more discussion about committees? Nope? Okay. All those in favor of approving order 21-03 with the Finance Committee of Counselor Collmore, Donahue, and Billings, with Counselor Collmore serving as chair. The Ordinance Committee, Counselor Donahue, Lodgedice, and Hall, with Counselor Donahue serving as chair. Fair Hearing Authority Committee with Counselor Collmore as chair, Nichols and Hall serving on that committee, and then Police Labor Negotiating Committee with Counselor Nichols, Billings, and Catherine Roos serving on that committee. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing that will pass. Resolution 21-01.
Resolution 21-01, resolved that the town council appoint Catherine Roos as official representative, Councilor Blank as official representative, and Councilor Blank as alternate to the General Assembly for the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments, Cape Cod.
Council will look to open discussion.
Move we adopt resolution 21-01.
Second.
Okay, Catherine usually attends these, and I'm assuming these are all going to be via Zoom now,
I suspect for quite some time, yes.
probably throughout the year. So it'd be like an hour or 2 maybe. Is it once a month they meet-ish?
The regular meetings are usually once a month. There will be a General Assembly meeting, like the budget meeting that will take place, that could be in the morning, afternoon, or evenings. They've tried all sequences in order to get everybody there. They did have an in-person meeting last year for that General Assembly.
Okay. And this is, Catherine usually goes to these meetings, and a counselor would usually attend if she was unable to attend. And of course, via Zoom, it might be easier for people to attend and participate in those, because it wouldn't be as time-consuming driving to Oakland
Yes.
or Waterville and back. So council will look for volunteers to serve on that committee.
I do have to say that I will not be able to be an alternate, given my new position as a
Okay.
representative of the state, because I know I was last year.
Yeah, okay. Pete, would you be willing to,
I can't commit to that.
okay,
Okay.
because time?
It's during, it's likely it would be during the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Jason, are you available for that, or does work schedule preclude that?
I could maybe be like an alternate or something.
Okay.
But
All right, we'll put you in as an alternate, and then, you know, if either of you and Catherine, I can be the fourth in line for that.
So would we change this then to be that the Counselor Nichols would be the official representative and Counselor Hall would be the alternate? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that your motion?
Oh, yes. That was a total motion right there.
Okay.
I move that we amend the resolution to include the official representative being Counselor Nichols, actually Deputy Mayor Nichols, and the alternate being Counselor Hall.
Second.
And second. All those in favor of said motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. 2102.
Resolution 21-02, resolved that the town council appoint blank as the alternate representative to the General Assembly for the Kennebec Regional Development Authority, also known as KRDA, also known as First Park.
I'll look for a motion.
Move we adopt resolution 21-02.
Second.
And who would like to serve as an alternate representative to the KRDA?
Who's on there now, if you don't mind
You.
me asking? Me?
I think you are.
I'll do it, I don't,
He's
that's up to
doing
you
that.
guys.
Those meetings are usually at 5 o'clock on a Thursday.
We'll make it work.
Zoom makes it a little bit easier for you, Phil.
Yes, that is true. Of course, we gotta put a computer at your house.
We've never had much with it last year, so.
No, because I went to all of them.
It's easier in the summer than it is in the winter.
All right, all those in favor of resolution 20-02 as with Tim Nichols as the alternate, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. 2103.
Resolution 21-03. Resolved that the town council appoint blank as an alternate to the Main Services Center Coalition in addition to the town manager.
Move we adopt resolution 21-03 and let's keep Mayor Donahue in there.
Am I in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
All right, anyone, any other discussion? All those in favor of Mayor Donahue serving as the alternate to the Main Services Center Coalition, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. 2104.
Resolution 21-04. Resolved that the town council sign the expense warrants upon recommendation of the finance committee for the year 2021.
Move we adopt resolution 21-04.
Second.
Do we have any discussion around this?
So what is that exactly?
That just says that the finance committee says that the council can sign the warrants.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking.
So that's
This
why
is
you-
kind of like,
That's why Pete has been doing such a good job coming early to sign all the warrants before the meetings.
Yeah, we want that to continue.
all right, all those in favor of resolution 2104, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. Did we do? Oh, okay, I wrote that on the wrong spot, sorry. 2105.
Resolution 21-05. Resolved that the town council sign the certificate of commitment for sewer user rates and water user rates during the year 2021.
Move we adopt resolution 21-05.
Second.
Any discussion, counselors? Fire station. All those in favor of resolution 2105, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Resolution 2106.
Resolution 2106. Resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to execute a contract with the Humane Society, Waterville area, for the period of January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021, for the sum of $1,875.68 per quarter to not exceed $7,502.70 for the year, and authorize the town manager to sign same.
Move we adopt resolution 21-06.
Second?
Discussion, counselors?
Well, this was the amount we already approved in the budget, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had an increase the last 2 years. They kept it the same.
They had a
pretty much.
tiny increase, and then told us that there wouldn't be any increase for this year, and then it went up like $400 or $500.
Still pretty reasonable, considering what you get.
Any other discussion, counselors? Is there a way that we can communicate with them that we would like to have their contract to us and while we're doing our budgeting?
We have communicated that to them for 6 years now.
So this is what we got, January.
Yeah.
Yes, it actually showed up a few days after the December 15th meeting with its new higher price in it. They vote in early December, but I think that their vote got moved back for some reason. You remember the Humane Society had a lot of issues
Yeah.
and had to sort of reinvent themselves. So now they're getting, so that they're asking for more money and actually running the facility better.
But, any other discussion, counselors? Okay, not hearing any, let's vote on 2106. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That will pass. 2107.
Resolution 2107, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to hire independent reviews and execute all paperwork for airport grants for the year 2021 as necessary in accordance with the town's bid policy, the Federal Aviation Administration FAA regulations, and the Maine Department of Transportation that should be Maine DOT regulations.
Look for a motion, counselors?
Move we adopt resolution 21-07.
Second.
And Catherine, is this the item where you said that the state is doing all the
Yes.
third-party review now?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. They said to go forward and have everybody approve these anyway. The gentleman from the state, because of the high cost of these independent reviewers, most of which are in Massachusetts, there's several companies that we would have used, and they all aren't doing this work anymore. I'm not even sure who we would use. So the aviation engineer with MDOT, Tim LaSalle, has been performing these for the towns. He'll do an independent review, come up with what he thinks the scope should be of that section of the project, and then determine what he thinks are the proper costs based upon the Maine Department of Transportation cost summary for how much it costs for an engineer of this type or that type. And so he just put together a proposal for the town, free of charge.
Any other questions, counselors? Okay, not hearing any, let's vote on 2107. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. 2108.
Resolution 21-08, resolved that the town council sign the Earth Day proclamation supporting community-wide activities. Earth Day is Thursday, April 22nd, 2021.
Move we adopt resolution 21-08.
Second.
Any discussion, counselors?
Good yearly project.
My yearly project. All those in favor of resolution 2108, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hopefully we can hold it this year.
All we can do is what we can do.
Outdoor activities.
Outdoor
Yes.
activities.
I did put on the resolutions a little bit different language and wrote in the agenda item that the recycling committee likely will have to promote like family unit activities, so the family will go out and do a project together.
That's a good way to think about it. So that will pass. Resolution 2109.
Resolution 21-09, resolved that the town council sign the Arbor Day proclamation supporting community-wide activities. National Arbor Day is the last Friday in April, Friday, April 20th, 2021, and Maine's Arbor Day week is the third full week in May, being Sunday, May 16th through Sunday, May 22nd, 2021.
Move we adopt resolution 21-09.
Second.
I'm guessing that Mainers, being pragmatic as they are, we have better weather to do things at the last third week of May than we do in April.
Yes, that's why ours is that way. We're one of the later ones.
All right. Any discussion, counselors?
Do you have a thing for us to sign? Are we all signing separate, or are we signing them later? How are we doing that, Catherine?
Yes.
For both of those?
So there were some forms, and I'll look after the meeting for them, that were set up really nicely by the staff. So I'm gonna look.
There were some in my staff.
Oh,
Okay,
is
good.
it,
All
it's
right,
in our
good.
little
Yeah.
packet
It's in
thing?
your packet.
Oh, okay,
So we're
good.
each signing it individually
Yes.
again?
Yes, okay.
Thanks, Tim, I didn't see that at the end there. You'd think I would, it's a different color.
Yeah, there would be an Arbor Day and the Earth Day in
I lost track. Did we just vote on that? We didn't yet.
Not yet.
No, I was asking the question.
Okay. Any other questions? Right. Not hearing any. All those in favor of 2109, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Discussion items. There are none listed on the agenda this evening. However, Councilor Billings did ask me to make some remarks or bring up the conversation around the mask mandate. Don Chu is here, and he presented at the last meeting as well that the governor's order is very clear that any indoor gatherings, people need to be masked. He came to our last meeting as well to clarify the situation and the order that was given by the governor. So we need to decide how to proceed on this. We do have counselors that are not masked this evening, and that was Councilor Billings' concern. We talked earlier about, Catherine talked about the governor's order that you can participate in public meetings via Zoom or online and another platform if needed. And so that is an option. But we as a council do need to be setting forth a good example as discussed earlier towards our community. And so I'd like to have a conversation around this with our counselors. Catherine also offered to set up a room upstairs so that somebody could be in the building but separate in their own room via the Zoom as well, so they're technically here in the building as well.
So we're wondering also, we have the library that is closed in the evenings. For those that can't breathe with the mask, perhaps they could be at the library, separated of course, and utilize the computers there.
Mm-hmm.
They would have fellowship.
There's 2 different rooms there
Yeah,
within site.
There's nobody
really
there,
good
no.
internet.
I got a question. I guess it's kind of, it's geared to all 3 people, but I'll start with Donnie. I know some people can't wear them. Now, my question is, and it may be no, and if it's no, it's no, but can some people wear the face shield and have it not, and be in compliance with the governor's mandate? Because we have these face shields that we can wear at work for people that can't wear the masks. They look kind of, you're not going to be declaring a fashion statement.
I just took it off, but
Yeah.
I do have that.
Yeah, I never saw you wear it before, that's why I was curious, because I can't see worth a crap anyway, but I didn't know if maybe wearing the face shield throughout the meeting when you step in and you step out would suffice to cover
As long as
the governor's mandate.
As long as it does splash shield, then they can maintain the 6 feet, yes.
Yeah. Is that anything you guys can live with? I'm asking as deputy mayor.
So I keep it on, but I have to keep pulling it down because even this bothers me. And even in the State House, just so you're aware, I am a state representative.
Yeah.
Even in the State House, I get up and I have to take frequent, I did it today. I was just joking with these guys before you got here, Tim, how I've become very good friends with the Sergeant at Arms. Because I get up, I take my drink, I take my, because we can't drink in chambers either.
Yeah.
Take my quick little shield break thing because I have a medical condition and I cannot breathe. That's just what it boils down to.
Well, I take it down to drink, which, the places that I work, and I work at a bunch of them, if you're eating something, you take it down, you take a drink, you put it back up. That's how it works. And I'm not trying to throw stones Mayor Donahue, I'm just saying if that's a workable solution that everybody can live with, then it might make it easier on this whole entire council. But that's why I'm glad you're here, because...
And I am here tonight for a reason, is because, and I mean no disrespect to Council Collmore or Council Lodgis, but it's very clear in the governor's order. And it's selfish, it's close to reckless endangerment. You're having a public meeting, and you've got public officials, and as we've got sworn in tonight, 2 of you, about following the Constitution of the State of Maine. I've told you last time, I don't necessarily agree with the science of this. I'd like to take this thing off too. I have been following the science, but it's either going to be all or none. And I'm having that issue with some employees, because every time that you try to enforce it with an employee, they say, well, you've got counselors that they're watching, that they've got counselors that are not wearing them. So are we doing this or aren't we gonna do this? Because we're not setting a good example. I don't feel good when we've got small businesses in this town that people are complaining because they're not wearing masks, and you expect me to go to those small businesses and tell them they're gonna lose their business license, or they're gonna get thousands of dollars worth of fines. And the people that are local government, state government, that are putting these mandates on people are sitting there saying, well, I can't wear one. I'm not gonna wear one. You can't force me to wear one. So it's a big deal.
Okay,
I mean,
so is the
Vernon's
solution?
homesick, his wife's homesick with both with COVID. It is in the community, it is a type of the flu. You look at the science, I'm not a scientist, I used to be, do a lot of this, but one of the things that you're gonna have to make a determination is it says that you will have one on in a public building. And you've got a sign on the door up there, and you won't let patrons in without one, but you've got counselors, you may have town employees, you may have other people that are coming in there saying, I'm not gonna do this. And where do we stand? I mean, we're trying to enforce this, we're trying to keep our community safe, and you have other people that have no regard. And I understand, people have medical conditions, but it says there's no exemption for medical conditions. I have a tough time breathing in this thing. I
The
mean,
shield
but we really-
actually is the
But
thing,
we really need
and
to-
that is in the order, and she has come out and said that. The
Oh.
shield, it's not just a face mask, it's a face covering.
Right, and the shield is fine, and that's why I said it's a face covering, but this is a public building. We have patrons that are coming in here. We're expecting them to be masked up, and when we have people in my position, I mean, you couldn't even say the health officer. I'm at the transfer station. What type of example am I setting for people if I'm telling people that they're gonna wear a mask if I'm not willing to wear one myself? So it's kind of hypocritical, and it creates a lot of problems, and it's getting a lot of people upset, and I don't want to see the community upset. The community is first.
Okay, so to get to the point, if everybody can either who can't wear a face mask can wear the face shield,
Correct.
are you satisfied with that?
Yes, it's a face covering. It is covered in, and that's why Amanda said at the State House, they do have people that have the face shields. That is acceptable.
You guys live with that?
And
I've got it on tonight.
I know, I'm just saying, you know, it's all here in the public view, I'm just saying,
I have
are you
to
guys
pull it
okay with
down
that?
for breaks for drinks and to actually be able
And
to
that's
breathe.
understandable. If you're taking a bite to eat, and I've had that discussion with my employees, stay away from people if they're having a drink. You're allowed to pull down your face covering and do that. We have to have subsequence. You have to be able to eat, you have to be able to drink. But it's one of those things that I'm bound by my position as health officer. I can resign today, but legally, I'm supposed to report this to the governor's office. This is a public building, you're having a public meeting, and you've got people here that are not masked. And I don't want to do that. I want to be proactive about, hey, let's figure out some way that we can do this.
All right, so the counselors that can't wear the mask because they can't breathe have face shields. So if they wear the face shields, this is fine.
Yes.
Question.
Ken?
If a counselor that has medical conditions, and no names, I'm just saying, I have them myself. If they're uncomfortable with other counselors wearing face shields, even though they're in the law, I think we can accommodate those people if they can want to be in a different area, if they're really not comfortable with it, you know what I'm saying? I think there's let's say I had real bad lungs and I said, look, I know what the law says, but I'm still uncomfortable with this. Can I go on Zoom upstairs by myself? I don't think that's an unreasonable request.
No,
I think we're trying to make everybody as comfortable as we can and still get our business done.
No,
That's
we've
just how I
already
feel.
talked about that. We can set up Zoom in another room.
Yeah.
We have a public library that is closed at night, which has a large area where people can go and use their computers, and 2 or 3 people can be there, have fellowship, communicate on the meetings. They're gonna have the big screen, which has been ordered on the TV, so you can all see each other. So that is an option.
I'm perfectly comfortable with these guys wearing a face mask, but let's just say I was really sick, say I'd had COVID once, and I was really uncomfortable with that, I have the option to go upstairs, go to the library, go wherever, not be that, but still be part of the committee that I'm on, which is the town council, or whatever committee you're on, and still be able to, you know, fulfill your duties of what you signed up for. So-
Yes, well, you can also do it at your home, Tim, if you got a computer.
No, I'd rather do it at the transfer station, do it at home and don't. I can't concentrate.
I'm just teasing you.
I can't concentrate on things in my own house. I got a dog, I got all kinds of distractions.
I
So
was
it's
just-
better to come in here, that's why I do it.
I was teasing
I
him
know
because
you
Tim doesn't have a computer.
do. I know you do.
So-
I do, I got a little tablet about that big.
So basically what it boils down to is Donnie has made us very aware of the procedures that we need to be following. Twice now he's come into the council to let us know what those procedures are and what the ramifications are as well. Deborah voiced concerns about setting a good example for the community as well. And so part of that example for the community is working with each other to find a way that everybody's able to participate in the meeting. And those things are the things that we have talked about tonight, you know, having the face shields instead of a cloth face covering, being able to participate by Zoom, being able to be upstairs or in the library. The town can provide space for that if someone's uncomfortable for having Zoom in their home or in their business as well. So there's a lot of options, and I would encourage counselors that if they do feel uncomfortable with certain things, to either talk to myself or talk to Catherine so that we can find a workaround for it, so that we can keep all of our counselors serving, we can keep everybody healthy, and we can also maintain some respect for each other and the situations that we're all in. This whole thing hasn't been easy on anybody, and for various reasons, and we need to be cognizant of that as well. And Donnie, we appreciate that you came in tonight. I'm glad that you came down. I'm guessing you had a phone call from someone that.
Well, actually, no.
So-
I was gonna check. Bernard, me and Bernard have been in communication,
Good.
and we had talked about it, and one of the things that we've been told by a couple of people was that, well, how can you enforce it when you've got town councilors doing it? It had nothing to do with anything else other than that, and it just, being a good steward and setting a good example. And like I said, you can look at it 100 days, and every day you get something a little different, but at the end of the day, you have to do business. We all have to do business, and I don't like to pick anybody out, but if everybody has the opportunity to do it, keeping people safe, keeping the community safe. And
Hopefully next year these will be
if you do,
memorabilia.
if you expect somebody to do something, then we should be doing it too.
Exactly.
And I don't expect my employees to do anything at my facility that I'm not willing to do myself, and they'll tell you that every day of the week. And I know it's tough. I know there's people that have difficulty breathing. I know people are fed up with a lot of stuff. Like you said, it's been a long 10 months. It really has. And hopefully we can move on in a positive fashion and get people energized about getting rid of this thing so we can go back to normal.
For the sake of keeping the peace,
Definitely.
it's on, but I don't expect anybody to put or wear this thing. period.
I'd like to also second that. I'm wearing it because I was elected to serve. It's the only reason that I wear it in the State House, because I was elected to serve people. And I do have to I have a severe medical, it's not just about not wanting to wear it. If, trust me, if my health would allow me to wear the stupid face cloth, I would wear it because there's cool designs and because I wouldn't have to put up with this crap that I've been putting up with for the past 10 months because I have a medical condition that negates it. I would never require somebody with a medical condition to put one of these on, ever.
And I
So
don't think
when
it's
you're
a-
saying that we would expect other people to do it,
I don't.
I do not expect other people to do it because I do not agree with it, and I don't think that it's helping. Our numbers are rising the more strict we get. So I just want to put that out there in the public,
And
that
I truly
I'm
understand.
doing it because I was elected to serve people. I'm not doing it because I think somebody else should do it. I have to take breaks. If it comes down to it, where the breaks aren't even allowed, I do not want to step down from this position. I like this position. I enjoy serving the community. I have a lot of constituents that reach out to me, and I'm doing the best I can. So to have people like other counselors or community members attack you because of a medical condition that you cannot see is ridiculous. You do not know people's stories. It's the same thing, I said this before, it's the same thing as saying to somebody in a wheelchair, It's better for your health to walk upstairs, so you'll have to figure out how to get out, and we don't have, it is federally protected as a disability, even though you can't see it. And so I know that it's the governor being this way. It was her thing. I'm not blaming you, Donnie. I know you're doing your job.
Same.
I really do not envy you in the position that you are in.
And it's government overreach, and I have a big problem with it too. And it's one of those things. I've been teetering, and you can ask Catherine. I've been teetering whether I even want to do this health officer thing. I'm the only one that's certified. I really don't want to do it because it's tough when you see people that are, especially small businesses that are struggling.
Watching businesses close down because of this
And
is ridiculous.
having people spying on other people and neighbors spying on neighbors is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for this country. I understand where you're coming from. It's tough.
I was gonna directly, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna tell Amanda, I would much, much rather see you take an occasional break than see an empty council seat there and having somebody in the community that wants to serve the cancer. I don't think there's anybody in this chamber that wouldn't understand that. I know I certainly would understand it. And I know that if I had to get out and take a break, you would understand it. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think you can serve just fine. Take your break if you need to, because you gotta breathe. And come back and I think we'll make it work. I really don't think it's gonna be that big of an issue, man. I really don't.
It just makes, I just want to make
It's
sure that
infuriating,
people
but-
understand. It makes me sick to my stomach every time I have to go out to the community because I know I'm going to get crap.
Yeah.
I wear this shield, but because I can't wear one, I cannot cover my eyes with a second lens either because I get motion sickness. I have really bad vertigo with that. So I can't have the one that comes down from the head, and people give me dirty looks all the time because you can't see this thing the same way as you can see one attached to the head. And
Actually,
I
like
hate
that.
it. Huh?
I said, those are actually better when you wear them that way, actually. It's because which trying to stop is
Absolutely.
the spitting and the fluids from going. That right there, if he sneezed, it would still go down in this thing. And
I can tell you I sneezed in this, and it's awful.
it is. It'll catch it.
But I don't think, I shouldn't speak for Heather, but I think if somebody that can't wear one of these has to get up and take a break for a minute, I don't have a problem with that. I don't think anybody else would either.
I don't think
And I wouldn't
anybody
think
has a problem
any less
with
of
it.
anybody that
No.
had to.
You know, if somebody.
No more than if I have to run use the restroom, because I'm an old man, you know what I mean? It's just
If
the way it
somebody needs
goes.
a break during the meeting, I mean, we're all adults here, we understand that, and it's not, I mean, you don't have to raise your hand or anything, you know, you need a break, you just get up, you walk out, you come back when you're ready to come in. It's not a big deal.
And the other thing is we have to have human interaction. And I do. I commend you for coming into these meetings and wanting that human interaction because you show your constituents that you care enough to be here in person. I'm not a very big believer in Zoom. It still seems like it's cold to me. It doesn't even, a face on the screen doesn't seem personable to me. It's a change that I haven't been used to yet. And I'm not going to get used to it because I'm a people
You will get
person.
used to it.
I'm a people person, so hopefully this thing goes away and we can go back to.
And it has glitches all the time.
Right,
It's like watching television, you know?
yeah, it is.
So going forward, we'll know that the expectation is that we all have a face covering of some kind, whether it be a shield or a mask, and that we treat each other with respect. You know, and that means having an open dialogue with each other, as well as being patient with each other and trying to understand what other people are going through. So,
As my father used to say, I hate being nice.
So
No, I'm just kidding.
we can move the room around if it helps people to be
Yeah,
closer to the doors.
It's not just that, like where she wants to drink or she got to face away with the thing for a second, face away from people. Everybody, I mean, you can't wear these all the time. I mean, I don't wear them in my house. I would if someone was sick and I would have to worry about a family member. I might be a little bit more conscious, but I mean, you know, looking away, if you have to do something and you're taking a drink or something, to take it down to do that, it's understandable. I mean, it's not normal to have this, so.
anything else, counselors? All right, under reports, Catherine, did you have anything else?
All right, very good. Because it was the first meeting of the month, we always have the short agenda. I'll simply just remind everyone that the new transfer station stickers are here. They're quite attractive. We had lines of people to pick them up. The fee is $20 for residential for the entire year. and for a Pittsfield business or Pittsfield contractor, it is $40 for the entire year, which if you compare other facilities and the cost to dump items, this is a bargain. Thank you.
Catherine, we had discussed briefly with the dump stickers, when we first initiated it, the possibility that, like, if Jeff and I are coming in and buying it, and we're buying 2, that you pay half for the second one. Did that ever get discussed further, or
No.
are we going to end up buying 2 at the full? I don't care what the answer is. I wanted to know, because I can't do this. Jeff only has it on his truck thing, because if I need to bring recycling in, it's killing me.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I have 2 vehicles, but it's just me. I pay $20 for the sticker, but
Just
then I gotta bounce
move
it back
it-
and
you
forth.
gotta move it between you.
Then I get down there with a load full of stuff and I forgot my sticker. It would be nice if I could pay $20 and have it on both vehicles that are registered to me.
So what you can do, it's been
Is that
suggested
not
that you
possible?
put it onto, like put it onto something that would either be like a piece of cardboard, so you can move it back and forth, or put it in your wallet and just pull it.
That's what I do.
Well, I mean, I can throw it on the dashboard just fine, but,
Yeah.
I mean, if I had 2 stickers, I can just put it on the windshield of both trucks. And I'm good.
The council talked about that, but did not vote in any amendment to the original vote, which was the full price for each one. But if somebody has 3 vehicles in their household, we don't expect them to get 3 stickers. They can figure out a way they can move them between the vehicles, or put it in the wallet, and maybe or maybe if there's a dump car.
And I'll be honest
it
with
goes
you,
in the dump car.
we know who you are. We're really good at it now, so if Amanda, Jeff comes in with his truck and you come in with your thing and you say you got recycling, we're gonna let you get rid of your recycling. We're pretty good that way.
My favorite is more
However,
somebody who doesn't know me.
well, we all know you there, so we all know you now, but anyway, it's pretty easy. The other thing was that we talked about that with having so many stickers was, we normally got 1,000 stickers. Well, we had to reorder last year. We almost did 1,300. Well, we did 1,500 this year. It costs more the more stickers we get. So if we can keep that at a minimum. And the other thing that happens is if you get a lot of stickers is somehow they become available. People sell vehicles. This happens, that happens. The next thing you know, we had one that come in today from Newport. And I knew as soon as he drove in, I see he had bags of trash, and he went down to the metal can. And I went down there and I said, "Oh, this is gonna be easy. I know this guy." I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm just getting rid of my trash." I said, "The trash compactors are up there, number 1. I said, "Number 2, you live in Newport." "I do." I said, "Yes, I used to coach your basketball." I said, "So I know where you live." And "Yeah, I do." He had a sticker. He had a sticker on the vehicle. He had a Chevy S10 that he bought from somebody here in town, and I won't say who, but anyway, had a dump sticker on the windshield. I said, "Guess what I'm going to do with that today?" I took it off the windshield.
So Donnie, are you saying that if somebody doesn't have the sticker on their vehicle and they're just bringing recycling, they can come in?
They do with recycling, yes. If they're bringing
Okay.
recycling, because we still have some few people that come from Palmyra that bring their little yellow bin, because as you know, they're throwing everything in the garbage, and there's a lot of people over there upset. We've got a few that travel through that come from Unity that have rental properties in town. They bring their cardboard and stuff from Unity because I guess they're throwing it away. And we have a lot of people, the Detroit store, for example, brings a bunch of cardboard to us twice a week. It's just recycling. It's not costing us anything. They're not throwing anything away. So to encourage that recycling, it's not costing us nothing.
So then, to add on to that, because we don't have the recycling container that many of the senior citizens come to the parking lot for, can we tell senior citizens that they don't need to get a sticker?
As long as they
If it's
prove
just recycling, they
Just
can just go
recycling,
down?
correct. They don't need a sticker. They don't, because I know that Fred Raines is come and hit me a couple of times, but now he brings his garbage. So he was having his garbage picked up. He said, "I'm going to bring my recycling up here. I'm going to bring my garbage." So, and we are pretty good. We do have that. We do have that grace period. It's I think January 29th to give people.
Yes.
We've told a lot of people, and we will be checking sometime shortly after.
Well, I
that.
know I advertised that on social media and said, no rush, come in after Christmas and the New Year's. And we had lines of people out the door.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people that have come up in the last, that have come up since the first of the year that, oh, I still only got my 2020, so you got a grace period. Oh, good, I was so worried you weren't gonna let me get rid of my stuff today.
And so if people don't want to come into the office just to get the dump sticker, they could just mail a check to the town
Yeah,
Yes.
and they could get their dump sticker that
Yeah,
way.
we've
That would
actually-
save them a trip in and save standing in line maybe, so.
Yeah, we've
that's-
set up a process so they can, if they call in, and I did advertise that, if they call in, we can make arrangements so they can even use their credit card and then we'll just send it to them. Or they can send a check in and we'll send it to them. And we've done a few of those.
So that way people don't have to stand in line for things that aren't, like
Yeah.
registering vehicles or other things that you have to come to the office.
and we really haven't had any negativity other than the first, month and a half that we did it before.
The initial
Everybody's
shock.
been really proactive, everybody's been coming up, when can I get my sticker, when can I get my, so everybody is really glad they finally found out what a bargain it is to be able to bring their own garbage and, the things that they can get rid of, because they know that other places it costs them a lot more.
Okay.
And on top of that, just a little side note, the stickers are lawn green, same color as your grass in the spring, so that'll make you wanna go out and get one a little bit quicker.
Donnie, I'd be interested at some point when you have the chance to look it over, what our cost change has been since the implementation compared to the previous year. I know that it's going to be a big difference because we cut out a lot of people, but I'd be interested to see those numbers.
Yeah, I can do that. I will, usually right around March, when it gets time for me to do my annual recycling report for the state, I'll break down some numbers and some highlights and stuff, so I will do that.
Thank you.
Catherine, do you have anything else?
I did not, thank you.
Reports, counselors, or audience. Colonel Wiley, do you have anything to tell us tonight?
Well, something to ask and at least get people thinking about. The last 5 years, I put together this Memorial Day parade. I realize it's a ways off. I'm talking the last weekend of May, but it's quite an effort to put that whole thing together. Do we want to have it? We can't forecast. Are we all still going to be worried about the virus or not? But I wanted to get y'all thinking about it. I'm too far north to say y'all, I'm sorry, excuse me. To get all of you thinking about it. And a little bit of, any suggestions? You think we'll still be forbidden to get out on the street and have a parade, or?
Personally, I think this is going to stick around for a while. It's going to take a while for everyone to get vaccinated and for rates to drop. But, the fact that it's an outdoor event and parades are naturally spaced out,
Yeah.
I think that those are encouraging things that we could try and do that. The tricky thing would be like spectators on the sides and things like that. And just, social distancing and the masking or the visors for people that are participating, all those things that we do anyway would still need to be there. But the fact that it's an outside event is definitely encouraging.
All right, well, I think I'll go ahead then and start the wheels turning, because it's way more. I mean, last year I got the flyover and from the Air National Guard. You have to go all the way to the Pentagon to get permission to do that. But I'll go ahead and start the wheels turning then, and assume that we'll go ahead as before with some special instructions. We'll put them out one way or
Certainly,
another.
I'm sure Donnie and Bernard can help with any, just like they did for the recreation
Yeah.
committees and their activities, they can
Right.
certainly help put together the rules and regulations and guidance for that as well.
I
So-
think your big thing will be talking with the schools and whether or not their bands will be playing.
Right.
Because
Well,
my
that's-
son plays the saxophone and they're still not playing.
All right, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know about Warsaw because he's in MCI now, but I assume they too are no longer playing because they were playing outside
Yes.
and now can't play outside because of the winter.
All right, well, I'm glad you brought that up.
So I would speak with the new music director up at MCI and then Marisa over at Warsaw, because I don't know if they're going to be able to play in time for that.
Well, who decides whether you're able to do that? I mean, like, I've always had a marching band.
Department of Education.
The Department of Education.
Yep, that's exactly who's making that. This is what the
Well, I'm meeting with,
lead of the Department of Education said when asked about wind instruments, because they now have covers and stuff for the bells and special masks to wear. And she said, that's not good enough. You can learn how to play a percussion instrument. Telling that to students who have been playing wind instruments for 8, 9, whatever years. So she's not very accommodating.
So that would be something that would have to come out of Augusta, right?
Yes,
The Department of Education.
right now. But it's outside. And they do allow you to play outside as long as you can space 6 feet. So whether or not the program would be ready, because I know she does Victor's March with that, whether or not she'd be able to start marching in time for that would be the question.
All right,
For-
well, I'm glad you
for
brought that
Warsaw,
up. That's what I wanted. That's why I came, to get my homework started.
I hope they're playing by then, but I don't know.
Well, no, we can't
Yeah.
predict with surety.
I think it'd be good for, I think if we could pull it off, it'd be good for people, because it's a return to a little bit of normalcy, plus it'll be warmer weather. And if it's advertised correctly so people distance themselves, like
Right.
they're supposed to, I think it can work even with the band, if they can play instruments on it, as long as they can distance, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah,
I think you can get around that,
Yeah,
because it's outside.
I'm hoping.
okay.
I would check in with though, Colonel, if I were.
Well, I will, and the Department of Education in Augusta, I'll ask them, so we'll do it right. Okay?
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Donnie, did you have anything further that you need to report on?
No, we're good.
Okay. Counselors, Tim?
I want to thank Councilor Hall for coming and signing up, and it's a commitment, and it's kind of, it's, I remember my first year when I came in here, it was like a deer in the headlights thing, It's like, holy crap, what did I get myself into here? But I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll get I got it, it's just human nature. You think certain things a certain ways when you first come in here, and you got a short item agenda of how you like to see things be, and then you get to see the other side of it and why a lot of things are the way they are. You're going to find there's a lot of laws, regulations, and stuff that you had no idea, and that's okay. I mean, but it's a learning experience, a learning curve, and I'm glad that you decided to run, and congratulations that you got elected.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Colonel Wiley for coming in. I'd like to see some return to normalcy. And I think if we start doing these activities out, we follow the rules, I think we'll be fine.
And that's one more quick question. So, we want people spaced 6 feet apart, whatever we decide. How do we put that information out? How do we promulgate that?
Facebook.
Facebook?
Facebook, yeah,
Gosh,
do it through the
I-
Heart of Pittsfield.
As long as I don't have to sign into that crazy.
No, the Heart of Pittsfield will communicate anything you want them to, and the town can post it on their Facebook page. I'm sure Catherine would be happy to do that as well.
Yeah, we also will put it on the Central Maine Egg Festival. So between all those pages, there's like 5,000 followers.
So whom do I talk to say, here's what we need to tell everybody?
You could give it to the town office and we can distribute it.
Okay.
You wrote a good article for the Rolling Thunder.
Oh, I love to write.
That explained out what to do and the social distancing, and people did it.
So that'll help. I'll put something in Rolling Thunder. I'll talk to the town office. Okay.
Very good, thank you.
I'd like to thank Colonel Wiley for coming in, thank you. Donnie for coming in and giving us updates on everything. And I'd like to congratulate Heather for doing another term as mayor. And thank you everybody for putting me in as deputy mayor. I appreciate that. And I think this year will be better than last year. I know doesn't look that way, but I think it will be. I got faith that it's going to be a little better. It's not going to be a smooth road, but it won't be a roller coaster either. I think it'll be okay. And I'm looking forward to this year and seeing what we can get accomplished. That's all I got.
Thank you, Tim. Jason?
I don't really have much. I think I'm good.
Okay. Pete?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to the Viggies for the fireworks show that they put out. It was pretty good. That's all I had.
Okay. Amanda?
So I am also seconding the fireworks show from the Bigoos. I was actually able to watch it from my deck that night, so I didn't even have to go out. I'd also like to welcome Jason, and congratulations on your win, and we're excited to have you here. On the same line, I'd also like to thank Matt Bolster for all of his service to the town in sitting in that seat. We enjoyed his company on here, and I'm sure we'll enjoy yours as well, Jason. I'd like to congratulate Heather and Tim on their appointments for mayor and deputy mayor, and say welcome to our new administrator, Kathy. I actually had the opportunity to speak with her today when I was calling to speak with Catherine, and she seems lovely, and I look forward to actually meeting her in person sometime. I did have a constituent who reached out to me. He called me yesterday about the sidewalk plowing. And he said that he was concerned, I'm sure that has something to do, maybe he contacted you as well, about the sidewalk plows going by his house multiple times. 4 times is what he said, including the last time when there wasn't actually any snow that needed to be removed. What he'd like is to understand the process and why that was happening. Because he's concerned, because it was on the weekend, that would be overtime and we're paying too much money in overtime. So just if we can get some kind of clarification on the process of the snow removal for the sidewalks, I think that would settle that thing. But I did tell him I'd bring it up and ask for that clarification.
Yeah, thank you. He mentioned he had talked to you. He's a very nice gentleman.
Yes.
He calls the office on a number of items, so we talk about those. He had a legitimate concern because a number of people had seen this, and so
Yeah.
it is typical to go down twice, maybe even 3 times, but 4 or 5, we're going to have to check into what took place. So that information was put together for the Public Works foreman, and he is at home on leave right now. Hopefully to be back soon, but he's using email, so I'll call him and follow up.
And that completes mine. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a couple things. Again, I'd like to thank Matt Bolster for his service as a counselor for the last term. Matt certainly brought a unique perspective both as a business owner in town as well as a service provider. I know he had some really good, insightful conversations about not only our recycling center and good questions about that, but as well as the equipment purchases. Things along those lines that not all of us have, are buffed up on tractor horsepower and things like that. So we certainly appreciated his perspective on that and willingness to serve on committees as well. Thank you, Jason, for stepping up and being willing to serve on the council. Got your feet a little bit wet tonight, and we'll get going on our committees here in another few weeks, I think. So thank you for being willing to come and to serve. Thanks to the big news for the New Year's Eve fireworks. I couldn't see it from my deck. I could just see them over the trees every once in a while. But I know a lot of people in the community came right down and were able to watch it. There's some beautiful, beautiful photos on Harbor Pittsfield, and there's some videos too. A couple videos on YouTube. So it was certainly something that lifted the spirits of everyone in town that saw it. And if you didn't see it, you can watch it on YouTube. Colonel Wiley, thank you for coming, and certainly if there's anything that the town or the council can do to help with the parade, let us know. And Donnie, thank you for coming down and clarifying things. And I want to thank all the counselors for, it is a difficult situation, whether it's political, medical, or whatever personal reasons. People are reacting differently to this, and I'm glad that we could all have a conversation and be respectful of one another while we were doing that, and finding ways that everybody can be able to participate. I was supposed to create a statement from the outgoing 2020 council, and I totally lost track of time and have been busy with our business things. So I'm gonna just read a little statement, and it's gonna be from me personally because I didn't get the okay from the council to read it. So 2020 brought many challenges, starting with a massive windstorm that generated an incredible amount of brush cleanup, 2 elections, one of which resulted in unprecedented voter turnout, and a state of emergency due to COVID virus that continues to this day. Through all of this, the staff of the town adjusted their procedures, changed their policies, revamped their work schedules and their workstations in response to this. They've continued to provide excellent customer service, whether in person or by phone or by mail, serving the needs of the residents in the town of Pittsfield and beyond. I'd like to commend the staff for their efforts and thank them for the extra steps they've taken to continue operations. Directing the staff throughout these challenges, the town manager, Catherine Ruth, has worked tirelessly to be sure that the town operations continued as unaffected as possible. When state revenues dropped, she diligently kept an eye on the bottom line, and numerous projects were completed in addition to the regular requirements of the town operations. So Catherine, thank you, and thank you to the staff for all of your hard work on behalf of the town. And I certainly think that our town is making our way through this tough time in a good way. I think that overall our town has been kind of like chugging along. Obviously things are moving a little slower, but I think that everyone is doing a great job. And we have some new staff upstairs, and hopefully that'll kind of ease some of the burdens for some of the workload for you, and you can get a little R&R after all these things. I know there were several times that lots of staff were out and you were the only one manning the office. So we thank you for your work and your diligent work on behalf of the town. It's certainly appreciated.
Oh, well, thank you, and I'll thank the staff.
Yes.
Since the councilors didn't get to read that beforehand, are you in agreement with that? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, great, thank
Well
you so
said.
much. I'll let the staff know, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank
Heather.
you. And thank you for electing me mayor again. I really enjoyed serving the last year and continue to do so. So thank you very much for the vote of confidence for that. And with that, if no one has any further announcements or things they'd like to say, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, who's ready first?
Pete first on that one. Jim second.
I got it out first.
Way to go, Pete.
You're always quick on that one. All right, all those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, that will pass.
Catherine,
Thank you, everyone. Have a
did
good
you want-
night.
Did you want these, it seems like I read, do you want these,
Yes, yes, if you just leave your books here.
Oh, I'll have
take
to
them.
bring it.
Yeah, I'll
That's
take one of
okay.
these.
Yeah, that's okay, thank you, Colonel.
That roll.
Yeah, just drop it off at the office, or you can bring it to the next council meeting if you want, and I'll have all the papers ready to put in it.
All right, if I'm out and about, I'll bring it by.
But it's not necessary if you want to bring it to the next meeting.
Not a big deal.
Thanks, Joy.
You want these that we used to sign, Kathy?
Yes, thank you so much. What we normally will do is, put them over in the middle table.
Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah, great, thank you. I'm going to turn the Zoom on here.
Steve, you're in the same boat I was. I forgot my notepad today. I'm like looking like which paper doesn't have something written on it.
I started writing on my envelope. I'm like, this is easier.